Hey, folks, and welcome to Infinity Now, my channel, of course, and thank you for watching. Hope everyone's doing good. And, of course, hit the subscribe and like button if you like it, and let me know your thoughts and questions in the comments, too. And thank you again, as always. I want to talk more about UFOs and aliens. It's been my favorite topic lately, actually. So, I wanted to start with, because I've been watching these videos, and I know for many of us who haven't been growing up in the past 10 to 20 years, there's always been a question about if aliens are true or not. So the question, it always kind of starts like this. Are aliens real? Are we the only ones out there? And some people say, well, it's arrogant to think we're the only forms of life out there. As massive as this universe is, and the more our understanding grows scientifically of what's out there, it's just the chance gets smaller and smaller that we're the only forms of life out there. And then some people say, well, if there are, then why haven't they visited us? Why haven't they shown up? There's reasons for that, though. Now, I've always wondered these things too, though, and I'll share these reasons in a moment. But the truth is, I'm operating on a level of they are real. And of course, our government's been confirming this more and more, and the truth is coming out, and it's inevitable that the truth will just become commonplace, I think, over the next few decades. So we're in a really exciting time in human history. But now, as far as why haven't they shown up, people say, well, either they haven't found us or we are insignificant to them. If they're real, then they're not aware of us, or they are, but we're just kind of like, how we treat forms of life here on Earth. Other animals or insects or plants, things that are really of no consequence to us. Well, the truth is, they've been here all along. So it's not like they are clearly aware of where we are. And there's reasons to why they haven't communicated with us. Like, people also ask, well, if aliens were here, if they were good, they would have shown up, and they would have made themselves known by now if aliens were out there. And the other camp, the other school of thought as well, they're bad. Don't trust everything. Like, aliens could be, if they are out there, there could also be bad aliens. And it's a fair theory, of course. So it's not like it's either one or the other. It's actually both. Because I usually, when I hear, and I heard the question again on another video the other day, like, if they show up, if they're, well, like I was saying, if they're good, they'd make themselves known. And if they were bad, they would have conquered us. If aliens are real and bad, they would have, or known where we are, they would have shown up and just taken over, destroyed us for whatever reason. So, and that's a possibility, and that's an important possibility to keep in mind. But the real truth, to answer all these questions, is real fascinating. And the question about, are aliens good or bad? Both. There's good aliens, just like here on Earth, right? There's always a struggle between moral good and moral bad, and control and freedom, and what we can do and not do, and what's considered okay or not, and rule by force, autocracies or monarchies. Fascism, communism versus like democracies and republics, religious theocracies. There's all different ways that people, there's just this constant overall back and forth between the best way to rule your people or all the people on the planet. So we have this constant struggle too. And it makes sense that this same sort of psychological process is being played out in outer space. Now, the truth is, they know we're here, and the reasons they haven't shown up is because they're good. So it's kind of fascinating. Now, from what I understand, and again, there's a lot of information that's coming out online, about the reality of UFOs and the reality of aliens. Now, they've actually, I asked for all these answers, and I'm getting some. You can get some of this on TV too, but I'm trying to piece together the truth. So I've been asking a lot of questions lately about UFOs. Aliens have been here since day one. They're very old. There's bases all over Earth and in the moon, like underneath the moon, and astronauts have verified that. They were just told not to talk about this. But there's interviews about, like, guys that were in the first moon landing that talk about, oh yeah, we saw, like spaceships and aliens up there, and we're told not to say anything. And of course, there's more and more proof coming out now, and even admissions by the government about this kind of thing. So, and the reason is that they have not made themselves known is simply non-interference, for example, and believe it or not, protecting us from a good standpoint, because there are bad aliens out there, and they're out there. And so there's actually a good, think of it like the United Nations, so there's a good contingent and a bad contingent, excuse me, a bad contingent of aliens, and there's a mix and match of, all the gray areas in the middle, for example. There's all different forms of philosophies and governments, but overall, it's like here's a good way to look at it. Like when we observe nature, we try to be non-intrusive as possible. Simply watch, understand, protect, and allow things to unfold naturally. And that's exactly what they're doing, and that's why they haven't interfered or made themselves known, because it would interfere in our natural progression of things. And at a certain point, once we have whatever species becomes dominant on any given planet, at least in this part of the universe, they watch and observe in very limited interaction. And once we communicate and create language and get to a certain level of society and realize their existence, they will become more open to communicating with us. So they want to not interfere with this as much as possible. And what's interesting too is there's stories of crop circles, and I believe initially I didn't believe in them, but now I know the truth. Like they do come from, some come from aliens, some don't, some are hoaxes. But I've always wondered, like, they're either hoaxes or not, because it makes no sense that some benevolent group of aliens that's watching over us, would ruin our food supply or, things like that. Or why do they abduct? Why do they show up and do certain things? They don't. These are like, think of it like, here's a good analogy, like for example, like the United States versus, like China or Russia, for example. This is the main like ideological good versus bad kind of on planet Earth right now. So there's other aliens that are flying around out there and are like, doing incursions down here and will do things like that for whatever reason. And it's not allowed. So it's not a perfect process, just like it's not here on Earth. So they can stop them most of the times, but not all the times. And they try to make sure these things don't happen, but sometimes they do. So not only are aliens here, but it's a mix and match of good versus bad. And the good ones have been here all along, watching and waiting to communicate with us. And that's what the governments have been doing the past few decades, especially as we make our way into outer space more and more. So now it's becoming a reality and inevitable. And the crazy thing is you can talk to them too telepathically. There's a scientific reason for that, and I've talked about that a little bit in other videos, but I'm going to actually do another video on that. But so that's why. So, and these are the answers that I got, and they help kind of fill in all the gaps as to, are they real or what's real? What's speculation? What's hoax? And do they know where we are? Turns out they've been here all along. Are they good or are they bad? Bit of both. So it kind of paints this kind of real fascinating story that I'm starting to understand more and more. And it's really undeniable at this point in human history. And their interactions with us, with both the good and the bad ones, there's some real interesting historical knowledge too that's out there online that I've read before. And some of this I was aware of, some not, but that kind of fills in the gaps in Earth's history as far as where do we come from? We come from Earth, but there has been alien interaction from good and bad species, believe it or not, through all of human history. So that's all for now. I just wanted to share that. And if you have any questions or thoughts or ideas or comments or links or ideas, please let me know in the comments. And again, thanks for watching. And we'll see you in the next video.